Basketball last night, UAB beat another SEC team 84-70, and then Auburn got it going in the second half, and they beat Georgia State 72-64. Now some of the fun part of the schedule. You go to L.A. to play USC, then you go to Seattle to take on UW. So let's talk a little more Auburn basketball.
And their assistant coach Stephen Pearl is with us right now on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. It's been a while since we talked. Coach, what's going on? How are you?
What's up, guys? How we doing?
Doing great. Thanks a lot. Look, this has been an interesting start for you guys. You're 9-1 to listen to some fan talk. It feels like maybe you're not 9-1, but you guys are still maybe searching for, like any school right now or any team right now, searching for the proper rotations and maybe kind of where some guys fit at what point in the game. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you're going to take the you are who you are stance on things, I mean, the Final Four team would have been an NIT team, and last year's team would have been the national champion in January. So the beauty of a basketball season is, it's a long season, and, there's a lot of time for us to obviously grow and improve. And, obviously, offensively, we got a lot of work to do. Your Zoom links and our offense are very similar. They're just not very good right now.
Come on, Steven. Come on, Steven.
That's Steven's way of letting you guys know that he's not 5 minutes late for the interview.
No, he was not.
That we're shitty at sending Zoom links sometimes.
But no, I mean, what you said, with the rotations, it's a great example. You look last night, Trey comes in, and he gives us a spark we need off the bench for us to be able to win that game. And, Trey Donaldson, a freshman who hadn't played the last couple games because we were trying to, Chance Westry this summer was our best player. He ranked out by all the coaches as our best player. He ends up having surgery on his knee. He misses all the preseason and misses a lot of the, really important practices that we have leading up to the season and kind of falls behind. And we try and give him an opportunity in the rotation. Trey stays ready, comes in and has, however many minutes he played last night. They were huge minutes for us and he made plays. So we're still trying to figure out our rotations. Defensively, I think we've been pretty good this year. Our last 3 games, we haven't been as good defensively. So we really got to pick that up until our offense can find a way to get there. But, guys got to be accountable in the roles that they have. Guys got to make shots. You got to make layups. You got to make free throws. But it's a long season, so we got to continue to improve in practice and find ways to get better every day.
Last year you guys had the luxury of a guy like Jabari Smith down the stretch and a guy that could get you points whenever you guys needed it. Last night Jalen Williams was really good with the 20. Is it going to be one of these situations that, night in, night out, it might be a different guy?
Yeah, we said that from the beginning. Like, it could be Wendell one night, it could be Janai one night, could be Jalen, could be Al. It's got to be somebody different every night because, like you said, we don't have that one all-star on our roster. We don't have a Jabari, we don't have a Walker to bail us out of these situations. And for us to lose 2 first-round picks and another guy in our top rotation, it's going to take time for this team to kind of gel and mesh and figure out its identity. But guys like Jalen Williams, Alan Flanagan, Wendell Green, Katie Johnson, they got to be good every single night. We can't have inconsistency from some of our veterans. They got to be really good for us offensively and defensively throughout the season, but it is going to be a different person every single night, and guys just got to be ready for that.
This will be an interesting road trip to USC and Washington on the, be it true home games and away from Auburn Arena. You guys in the last few years, you just had this swagger about you. The moment you came out of the tunnel for a shoot around and when the game started, as the game went on, there was a swagger about you. Do you feel like you guys have that confidence yet? Does that come with shooting the basketball better? Where is the swagger, the confidence in this team right now?
I mean, I think this team still has swagger and confidence. I mean, I don't know if it's warranted yet. We haven't really done anything to earn that swagger and confidence, but I think, our last 5 or 6 years, we've had a pretty good run here, and our guys still have that confidence of, being on the Auburn basketball team. So trust me, their confidence isn't an issue. You look at some of the shots we take, and you think that they're NBA All-Stars with some of the shot selections. But so I'm not as worried about that. I think we got a pretty confident group still. I think the biggest thing is, just still trying to figure out rotations and figure out, because guys are playing with different lineups every single night because we're trying to figure out who fits best in which lineups. And, we have 2 of our better players not even starting right now because our starting lineup has the best plus minus out of any lineup we have right now. And we've gotten off to great starts in most of our halves. So that's why I've kind of done it that way. So no, I'm not really worried about that. But yeah, the biggest thing is, making shots, seeing the ball go in the hoop. That's a confidence thing. But we have to understand that, even when our offense gets going, our defense can't let up. And I think our defense has kind of let up the last couple of games. We've scored the ball a little bit better analytically, but defensively, we got to hang our hat on that end and wait for the shots to fall.
Coach Stephen Pearl with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. You can follow Coach on Twitter if you like. Stephen Pearl 22 is where you find him there. You mentioned KD Johnson. Coach Bruce Pearl said coach's decision, he sat last night. For those that might have missed it post game, though, you do expect to have him available for the West Coast swing.
Yeah. Obviously KD's got to, handle his business. And, if KD does that, we feel good about KD being out there and contributing for us on the West Coast. And, let's be honest, we miss his energy. We miss, he giveth and taketh away. He does a lot of really good things, but he also breaks us down a lot. And, but it also, his energy and his, the way he disrupts opponents, it really gets our guys going. And, at the end of big games, like you look at Northwestern, you look at St. Louis, like who's the guy that comes down the stretch and makes plays for us? It's KD. You look at last year on the road when we had some big road wins, who was the guy that kind of made plays when Jabari and Walker weren't themselves? KD. So KD's got to really step up and understand that he's got to be a leader on this team. And we know during SEC play, and on these road games, we're going to need him. So, obviously we missed them last night, but it was good for guys, to kind of get in there and have to step up and show what they had. And I think Trey Donaldson did a really good job of that.
Yeah, after this West Coast trip, you guys get to bust into conference play. Look, you played in the league. You've coached in the league for a long time. I don't know, and I was having this conversation with somebody yesterday. Could we make an argument this is the best the league's ever been?
Yeah, I mean, you look at 2019, the year we went to the Final Four, and we finished 5th in the league. Yeah. Right.
Good
that
point.
may have been the best year the league's ever had. That Tennessee team was number 1 in the country. That Kentucky team, when we beat them, was probably the best team in the country at the time. If we don't beat them, I think Kentucky wins the national championship that year. Some really good teams in the league that year. But I mean, this year, honestly, similar to last year. I mean, I thought the league was really good last year too. It didn't show in the NCAA tournament, maybe because we just beat the shit out of each other all year, and we just didn't have our legs at the end of the year. But this year, you look at the run Alabama's making right now. They're doing a great job. Arkansas is really talented. Losing their 5 men is going to hurt them, I think, a little bit as the year goes on, but they're still really good. Kentucky's Kentucky, Tennessee, and then you look at Mississippi State. I mean, Mississippi State goes to Minnesota and really just takes care of business up there and does a great job. And then, you look at the rest of the league, the top 5 or 6 are obviously really good. And then after that, you got a bunch of teams that, are trying to figure out, where they're going to fall, and it's still really competitive. So I would say, this year in 2019, like you said, as far as the depth and the breadth of the league, you may be right. This may be the best the SEC's ever been in basketball.
First off, beautiful pictures from your wedding this summer. Just beautiful pictures. You're heading to the West Coast. I don't know how many days you'll be gone. I assume you took her to Cancun with you. You played a game in Atlanta. Is this about to be the longest you've been away from her since saying I do?
Well, luckily, so she's from Northern California originally, so she's going to come out to SC. Her family's going to come down, then she'll go up to Chico for a couple days before Christmas, and then head back when we get a couple days off before the Florida game.
Now, how's Nellie doing? Was Nellie part of the festivities? Was Nellie at the wedding?
Nellie was not at the wedding. The resort did not allow animals, so she was she went to training for a couple weeks while we were at the wedding, and she's doing well though. Brittany's obviously very, very broken up that she's going to be away from her for 6 days. So, but she's doing great. I was at the house this morning. I told Brittany, I was like, hey, I'm going on the show that always asks about Nellie this morning. So she's probably listening right now. So she's pretty fired up.
Yeah. Well, big fan of the Vizslas. Have y'all ever thought about getting a second one?
I mean, I talk about it all the time, but she's just not really jumping onto it yet because we're trying to hopefully start a family soon, and I'm not sure if she wants to have 2 Vizslas and a baby running around while I'm out, coaching, recruiting, and doing all those things. It sounds like a great idea from my perspective because I get to come home, play with them for an hour, and then they go to sleep. She's got to hang out with them all day, so she's probably making a a good business decision by holding off on a second wild animal in the house.
We're going to send you a Zoom link to a good breeder. Very good breeder. Just check your email.
Yeah, it may take a week to come through, but I'll get it.
Oh, wow. Another shot at our connection. Hey, do you feed your dog? Do you feed Nellie as like this guy does, like a Wagyu steak every now and then, leftovers from the – do you throw Wagyu at the dog?
How old's your Vizsla?
So she turned 4 last month.
Okay.
And she's still wild as hell, as you can imagine.
Is she?
Oh, yeah.
God, it's I don't, but when my mother-in-law is in town, everything that's on that woman's plate ends up in the dog's bowl. So I'm sure when I'm not at the house, there's a bunch of good stuff that ends up in there too.
Hey, no lie, Steven. What's that?
Wagyu steak?
Well, that was when my Rams won the Super Bowl. That was a one-off.
We were celebrating.
When I go to the butcher shop, I'll buy her own. Like if I get a steak, I'll get a burger. But she'll end up getting some of the steak. But like 2 or 3 mornings, the girlfriend will honestly get DoorDash Chick-fil-A chicken minis for Ladybird.
For the dog. So Nellie just had surgery, and to get her to eat her food, Brittany was doing the same thing: Chick-fil-A chicken minis, and cutting them up and putting them in her bowl so she'll eat. So it's pretty funny.
Does Brittany have a closet for Nellie?
My gosh.
Front hall closet where the coats are supposed to go.
We do
it's
too.
A dog closet.
Yep.
All of her toys, her leashes, her bag. Like she's got a Yeti travel bag. She's got nicer bags than I do to like travel on the weekends for. It's ridiculous.
I love it. Much respect to your wife.
Yeah,
much respect.
My kids are watching right now saying, "Dad, you are a horrible dad. We didn't get any of that stuff."
I don't have Wagyu or a closet. All right, much like they're in the NBA, Auburn about to do the West Coast swing.
Yes.
Southern Cal Sunday, Washington Wednesday, 4:30 ESPN for the Sunday game, and then at Washington on Wednesday. Best of luck, Coach. We always appreciate the time.
Thanks, fellas. Appreciate you guys.
All right, buddy. You too. Take care. That is Stephen Pearl with us, the assistant basketball coach there for the Auburn Tigers.
I hope they get hot here and start playing some good basketball. It's hard to talk like that on a team that's only got one loss. You know what I mean?